people are still actually struggling financially. We're seeing in our own rental properties and everything, like rents, yeah, they've gone up a lot in almost every area of San Antonio and definitely every area of the US. The problem is like there's the majority of people can't keep up with those rent increases.
Mhm.
So now you add the mortgage increases. You have people that have fixed incomes. You have people that are doing, side hustles and all these little things like Uber
Mhm.
Eats and Uber and all this stuff. Like those kind of bumps hurt these people. And one of the things that was the most interesting to me is recently I had somebody looking for an apartment and they didn't meet that 3 to 1, your rent needing to be
Yeah,
three times
3
what you
times your
make.
gross income.
So what they say is like, all right, we'll take less, but you need to have a cosigner.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, that just sounds bad. I was like, so you're saying this person doesn't actually qualify to afford this house, right? But you're still gonna give it to them as long as they have a cosigner. As a landlord, as an investor, you can have a cosigner all you want, but if that person starts falling behind on payments, there's delays, there's issues, like that's gonna reflect on you. That's gonna reflect on your bottom line and the things that you have to do. It's like, yeah, I guess you can potentially go after the cosigner, but by the time you do all that, like you're hurting.
Oh, that's
It's
what and there's
not
like
comfortable.
that's what I really we've talked about this of just like, man, if you really stretched your budget to buy a house in like say 2020 or 2021, and then all of a sudden your payments go up that amounts that we were talking about, like that's going to be a big issue for a lot of people because we know people like will just stretch their pennies
Yeah.
to really buy that house, put all their money down to it, and be like, oh man, but the pricing goes up. I should be all right if I can get a little bit of a raise. Like, no, when you're talking like $400 a month, like that's a big price increase. I mean, you're talking extra $5,000 a year
Yeah.
on just like an average basic entry level home here in Texas. Or like that's where like they say it's not going to be a crash, but that's like, but that's also what I say like that's what rising prices and rising interest rates is designed to do. It's designed to slow that appreciation, and that's when I think it's really going to take effect. Because like this year, those taxes are going to certify. Everything's still hot. Everything's still going to normalize. Appreciation, mortgages, everything's going to get tight. It's next year and the year after. That's when I think things are really going to start hitting and just being like you're going to start. I won't say like foreclosures, but you're going to see more inventory start hitting a market, especially if prices do increase another 20%. Somebody then has the opportunity to be like, this was a bad idea. I bought this 2 years ago. Prices are high. Let me sell. And that's what's going to start bringing that inventory back up to a sustainable level.
Where are they gonna go?
They'll have to go back to an apartment or something like that.
But
It's going to
even
be very.
going back to an apartment, I mean, we see the shortages of apartment. Like,
They'll have to move in with family. Like I can't remember what
yeah,
it was talking about. Is McElroy's
mhm.
podcast? He's like people will figure it out. They'll move into apartments together. They'll get two houses or something like that. Two families will live in one house. Like they'll move down to a different area, and prices will kind of like spread out. Like they might have to go to a place uncomfortable. Like, hey, I had this nice house. Now I got to move to an apartment that's in a BC area. And it's like because I just couldn't afford to live in the area because I stretched too far.
And
So
those are the things that we've talked about before that I worry about is the psychological impact that's going to have on people because you just drastically decreased your lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like you've had to take a massive hit. I think one thing that people have gotten used to is this kind of you always get used to the good stuff very very quickly, right? And it takes longer to get used to the bad stuff. So it's
yeah,
like we have easy money. We have where it's like people are going to pay you for just to employ you because they need bodies and you don't have to work as hard. You don't have to show up as much. You can work from home. You don't have to produce as much. So you have all of these things that like people are not really used to, like that what we used to do, have to work hard to make that money and to take care of ourselves. Like people have gotten kind of comfortable and this is really going to shake them up and just make things very uncomfortable.
well, I mean,
So
Musk came out and said too long ago. Is like I think it's gonna be a good thing because people don't realize that they need to work.
yeah,
Like people have gotten extremely lazy to where it's like or entitled, or like I can be late, I can go home early, I can take a longer lunch kind of thing, or
what are
like
they going to do?
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
well, but they need bodies. Like well, when things kind of because I look at it like our generation. I mean, we're in our early to mid 30s. Like, we didn't really experience, have yet to experience a recession. Because when we were in 2008 happened, like we were what, 18, 19, 20, like really didn't know what the world was going on. We really didn't have two nickels rubbed together anyways. So it was like, what's it really matter? We were starting at the bottom. We didn't have families. We didn't have financial assets. We didn't have backing. We didn't have cash. We didn't understand the economy. So like, this is the first time the millennial generation could actually, like the COVID recession, like that really wasn't a recession. It dipped, shot back up. Here's a whole bunch of money and everything. So we haven't hit like a business cycle recession that just wasn't tried to be bailed out with pumping
Right.
immense amount of cash to keep everybody afloat.